Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Charlene Israel.
And I'm Ephraim Graham. Voters in key states went to the polls in the first major round of elections since President Obama's win last year. From a tight race in Virginia to a huge blowout in New Jersey, Americans are getting some indication of what next year's midterm elections could look like.
How about this, New Jersey?
The Republican incumbent, Chris Christie, won and won big. In a landslide victory, the New Jersey governor used his 20-point lead to present himself as a potential U.S. presidential candidate to take back the White House in 2016.
Maybe the folks in Washington, D.C. should tune in their TVs right now, see how it's done.
Exit polls show he got huge support from voters outside the traditional GOP base. A majority of women, half of Hispanics, 1 in 5 black voters, and even a third of Democrats all went for Christie, who last night wasn't using the good numbers to talk about future aspirations.
And whatever the future brings, it'll bring. But first things first.
What a great night, everybody, huh?
In Virginia, former DNC chairman and close confidant to Bill and Hillary Clinton, Terry McAuliffe, won an extremely tight race, edging out Republican Ken Cuccinelli, a Tea Party favorite by merely 2 percentage points in the race for the governor's seat.
There are a lot of proud Democrats here, and aren't we proud tonight, folks?
Even though McAuliffe outspent Cuccinelli and held a double-digit lead in the polls for much of the race, exit surveys show voters who opposed Obamacare overwhelmingly backed the GOP candidate, and that narrowed the margin in the last days.
The rollout of Obamacare that's been disastrous, and then now the thought in everybody's mind that this is a really bad policy that's going to hurt me, average American, is going to matter. I think it could have helped Cuccinelli a lot more if he had been harping on it from day one. If I were him, I would have really made it an issue early on.
We said this race was a referendum on Obamacare, and although I lost, tonight you sent a message to the President of the United States that you believe that Virginia understands that Obamacare is a failure and that you want to be in charge of your health care and not the government.
Tuesday's election results could prove to be an early barometer of the party's support ahead of the midterm elections in 2014. In other election news, the nation's largest city has a new mayor for the first time in 12 years. New Yorkers elected Democrat Bill de Blasio. He's taking over from Michael Bloomberg, who is stepping down after 3 terms. De Blasio is the first Democrat to take the post in 20 years. Meanwhile, the mostly African-American city of Detroit has elected its first white mayor in 4 decades. Michael Duggan won by a wide margin, 10 points. He faces a huge job. The city has massive debt, one of the nation's highest crime rates, and block upon block of crumbling neighborhoods.
Illinois is poised to become the 15th state to allow same-sex marriage. State lawmakers voted 61 to 54 Tuesday on a measure to allow gay couples to wed. The bill now heads to Governor Pat Quinn's office, who has pledged to sign it. Meanwhile, a group of Chicago area pastors opposed to the law say they will stand behind lawmakers who voted against it and punish those who didn't. The African American Clergy Coalition sent out robocalls objecting to same-sex marriage. It's also vowing to run primary challenges against lawmakers who supported the law.
Senate leaders are pushing ahead with a bill giving special protections to gays. Supporters of the Employee Non-Discrimination Act, or ENDA, would block discrimination against gays in the workplace. Opponents say it would result in costly, frivolous lawsuits and would mandate federal law based on sexual choices. Republican senators are seeking broad religious exemptions. They're trying to protect religious employers from retaliation and exempt more religious institutions. But homosexual activists want those protections stripped out.
The woman in charge of Obamacare's troubled rollout is back in the hot seat today. Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius faces a fresh round of questioning on Capitol Hill. This time, she'll be hearing from concerned lawmakers on the Senate Finance Committee. That includes Montana Democratic Senator Max Baucus, who was a chief author of the law. He's expressed concerns about the website and its potential security risks to consumers' private information.
Millions of Americans have had their current health insurance canceled by Obamacare, and it's not just individuals buying their own insurance. People who had insurance through their jobs are also losing it. Here now with a first-hand example is Thomas Brennan. He owns a graphics company in upstate New York. Thomas, tell us what just happened with your company's health care plan and how many people are affected.
Well, we've had a health care plan here, which we've been providing voluntarily for our employees since 2005. And I got a cancellation notice just last week, and they told us that they're done, that's it, it's a Blue Cross Blue Shield policy, and they called us and told us that we no longer have this policy. We'll have to find something new by December 31st, and that does affect all of my employees, and we've got 17 employees here.
Wow, the president has said that only bad health plans are being canceled. Was your plan insufficient?
Our plan was actually stellar. I went through a very severe heart issue back in 2008. I had congestive heart failure. I also had a number of issues, an enlarged heart. They actually were talking about a heart transplant for a while. To make a long story short, I made a complete recovery, but we had a lot of drugs and treatment in that time, cardiac ablation, as well as several different cardioversions, which is where they shock you to put you back in a rhythm. And all of that was covered with the exception of some copays. And I chose to pay for my own prescription coverage because it was actually more affordable that way. And so it was outstanding coverage. I love the plan. I really want to keep my plan.
Wow. Talk about the cost of finding a new health plan that qualifies under Obamacare.
Well, the problem that I'm finding right now is the plan that we had is now being made compliant with the federal mandates, which is going to result in a minimum of 33% increase on the premium. That would be for myself and all my employees. And in addition to that, we're going from a $0 deductible to a $1,200 deductible. And we'll have to be getting a number of insurances and coverages that we don't want, such as mental health coverage, substance abuse recovery coverage, as well as prescription coverage, which again, we found it to be more cost effective not to have that. I've got a lot of young employees here. So the cost in dollars is one thing, but there's also a great deal of time I've spent on this. Just trying to figure out what's what, and I've spent a great deal of time trying to get the facts straight on this.
Well, did your canceled health plan have any adverse effect on your own health or the ability to get proper health care over the years?
No, none. It was always, any doctor I went to took it without any problem whatsoever. It was great. We had no problem with it whatsoever. It was a great plan, great coverage. There was nothing that I ever wanted that it didn't offer.
Wow. Now, I know that you say the president needs to be pro-choice about health care. Explain that.
Well, what I mean by that is there has been a great deal said by the president and others that the government should not be becoming between a woman and her doctor, or that the government's position should be limited in this capacity. And yet I'm finding right now I've definitely got government between me and my doctor now, government and my health care, and I wish he'd be pro-choice on that issue.
Indeed. Thomas Brennan, thank you so much for your insight. Much appreciated.
Great. Thank you.
The Supreme Court hears a case on prayer at government meetings today. The court is taking on the case of Greece, New York. 2 residents sued the town over prayers at the beginning of town council meetings. An appeals court ruled the prayers are unconstitutional because nearly every prayer over an 11-year period was overtly Christian. The Obama administration and conservative groups are backing the town. They say the court settled this issue 30 years ago when it upheld legislative prayer as part of the nation's fabric.
A rare sight is just closing down in our nation's capital. 40 straight days of worshiping coming from a white tent near the White House. Paul Strand visited David's tent when it was wrapping up its worship marathon.
David's tent started as a vision last year of worshipers from all over the nation gathering somewhere in Washington, D.C. to praise their God without ceasing for 40 days and nights. But these ministers of music had never planned to end up right on the White House ellipse, within eyesight and earshot of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, just about as close to the center of secular world power as one can get.
The National Park Service actually suggested to us the White House ellipse. And so we just felt like through that whole circumstance that God was screaming at us, I want to be central in America.
Park Service people helped the David's tent worshipers to be here again this year, and they've already greased the skids for next year. when Hershey and friends plan to take it up a notch.
We really feel like God said 50 days, 1 day for every state. I've already met with the National Park Service, and they've already given me the preliminary permitting for 50 days next year.
Alexandra McDonald came all the way up from the Virginia Beach area to serve and to sing here.
The Lord has really marked this event, this David's Tent this year, with peace and a lot of favor with the Secret Service, with the park police. Every day we'll have a Secret Service agent come up here and we'll get to pray with them. It's so crazy.
Alan Avery is a regular among the worshipers. He believes there's real transforming power in the praise.
I believe it does change and shift atmospheres, and that's what we're here to do. We're saying God's presence wants to invade, us. Washington, D.C., our world, our state, our nation.
Avery says many believers come by, but plenty of non-believers too, pulled in by the sweet presence hovering over the place.
They just love it. They just love the worship because worship brings people in. And I just believe God's presence is so strong that he can minister to people's hearts whether they know him or not.
And some have come to know him at David's Tent, one in an extraordinary way.
One of our girls one night chased somebody down on the ellipse as they were walking away, chased him down, pulled him back, witnessed to him. He came back the next night and gave his life to Jesus.
Now the David's Tent worshipers want to transform not just individuals, but a city, maybe a nation.
We're just praying, saying, God, help us mobilize the nation next year, that a national call could go out, that literally this city could be redefined and known for a place to gather and praise the name of the Lord.
So as these folks wrap up their second year and prepare to return for a third, their goal is that Washington won't only be known as the world's most powerful city, but as a place where the nation comes to praise its God. Paul Strand, CBN News, the White House.
Coming up, when disaster strikes, the church strikes back. We'll show you how the people of God are bringing help and hope to the Philippines.
Hi, my name is Breda. I'm just your typical 9-year-old. I love singing, dancing, reading, discovering the simple truth. My grandpa says you're never too young or old to learn the value of a dollar. He taught me the true value of this paper dollar. You see this little gold coin? It says $1 on it. But guess what? That was a long time ago. Today, this gold dollar is worth over 100 paper dollars. This paper dollar is now only worth 1 penny compared to America's former money, the gold dollar. My grandpa says the only money worth saving today is real money, gold or silver coins. He's pretty smart. How our paper dollars lost their value, he says. It's all explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. It's easy and fun to read. If you call the number on the screen, I will send you a copy totally free. Next time, I will explain the simple truth about money.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
A Christian youth leader has been murdered in Tanzania. World Watch Monitor reports he and 2 other Christians were attacked by men with machetes. It happened at the Gilgal Christian Worship Center near Lake Victoria. The bishop of the church says it was not a robbery. The motive in the attack is unclear. But Christians in Tanzania have been victims of a campaign of persecution by Muslims in the past few years. Several pastors and church members have been killed. Other believers have suffered acid attacks. Churches have been bombed or torched, and Christians' property has been destroyed.
A Christian imprisoned in Iran has been freed. World Watch Monitor reports 27-year-old Iranian Mustafa Bordbar was just released 3 months into his 10-year sentence. He was arrested last year as he celebrated Christmas. Authorities charged Bordbar with crimes against national security. An appeals court overturned his conviction last month. Even so, more Christians are still being jailed in Iran because of their faith.
A little over 2 weeks ago, a massive 7.2 earthquake rocked the province of Bohol in the central Philippines. Many residents are still fearful of aftershocks, while others are living with the grief of tragically losing their loved ones. In the midst of it all, CBN Disaster Relief is there to provide trauma counseling to help the people regain their lives.
Joanne Luga is overcome by grief each time she recalls how her sons, aged 3 and 4, died in the earthquake.
It's so hard to believe that my sons are dead. It happened so fast. They were good boys. They always wanted to help me with everything I do. But now they're gone.
On that fateful day, October 15th, Joanne's boys were very happy because their father brought home this bunch of bananas. But just after a few seconds, the 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck. And in an instant, their house collapsed. And they found their 2 boys lying under this concrete debris. One was found dead on the spot. The other one did not make it to the hospital alive. Fortunately, her 2-month-old baby was pulled away before the bedroom walls fell on the hammock where he was sleeping. A family member convinced Joanne to attend a CBN medical mission in their village. This was the first time since the earthquake residents here received medical help. And the first time many shared stories on how the earthquake has affected them. A CBN counselor helped Joanne cope with her tragic loss. After hearing a salvation message, she surrendered her life and sorrows to Jesus. Her face lit up after the prayer.
I feel so light. I feel relieved from the heaviness in my heart.
Dr. Kim Pascual heads up CBN's disaster relief work in the Philippines. She examined Joanne and her baby and gave them rice, noodles, sardines, vitamins, and diapers. Some CBN staff walked Joanne home so they can minister to her husband, Edward. The sudden death of their sons made him depressed and confused. For the first time, Edward vented his feelings of deep sadness and guilt. He too prayed to receive Jesus in his life.
I'm very thankful that you have come to us. I realize that there is still hope, and all I need to do is trust God.
Because of your help, I can smile. I am happy because there are people like you who care for us.
The greatest need here is counseling and a listening ear. CBN would bring in our counseling center to teach trauma counseling to the existing churches in Bohol so that they too can reach out and help the people.
A lot of people still need help, and every day CBN disaster relief teams are visiting unreached areas, sharing with the earthquake victims food, medical care, and God's love. Lucille Talusan, CBN News, Bohol, Philippines.
Up next, word you'd never expect to hear from God. Go to a strip club. Find out why one woman heeded the call.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
One day, Erin Stevens had an unusual inspiration to go somewhere she had never gone before to reach out to people she had never met.
That's right, and as Paul Strand reports, it was a truly life-changing experience.
Last year, Erin Stevens, a Tennessee pastor's wife, heard a surprise from God at the end of a 21-day fast.
I just felt in my spirit God say, go feed the strippers. It just came to me, and I knew it was from him, because why would I think that? I'd never been to a strip club. I didn't know anybody in a strip club, so why would I do that?
But she wrote it down in her well-used journal and picked up the phone.
I called the general manager at the largest strip club in Nashville and just said, I would like to come feed your girls. I'm not going to preach. I just want to come show God's love in a practical way with no strings attached.
Nashville's known as a wholesome home of country music. Still, there's a dark side that includes more than a dozen strip clubs. Still, Erin's husband says this strip club surprisingly welcomed his wife's offer.
They were just open arms, absolutely. Can you come next Thursday? We'd love to have you.
She's made it there every other Thursday since. A few months in, she and her 3 homeschooled sons began putting together gift-filled goodie bags for the girls. But still, no open evangelizing.
We never took a Bible. We never took a tract. We just talked to the girls about their lives.
For months, Erin was faithful to this word to feed the strippers here in her home, getting those gift bags ready, not seeing much fruit. Until one young lady who lived here in Antioch, Tennessee, suddenly made all the effort seem worthwhile. That was Catherine, one of the most skeptical strippers when it came to Erin's visits.
She's going to preach at me or hand me one of those tracts that says hell and damnation, and this is how to go to heaven, and here's a Bible, go pray, something, and she didn't.
But one specific visit really rocked Catherine's world.
One day she brought Mary Kay packages.
She had tears in her eyes, and she said, what you've given me, you'll never know how much it means. I've been a lifelong user of Mary Kay, and I can't afford it anymore.
This is really extravagant. Why are you just showing us love without asking for anything or asking for us to pay for something or at least preaching at us?
And I looked at her, and I said, because you are valuable to God, and you're valuable to me.
Catherine never wanted to strip, hated it, and hated the surroundings.
For the most part, the customers in there just made me want to crawl in my shell and hide. I was drinking a lot, and to go to work I had to drink.
Now she was haunted by these words of Erin.
God loves you as you are, where you are, and no matter what you've done, who you've done it with, and how many times you've done it, he still sees you as completely 100% forgivable.
And Catherine began to believe what Erin told her about her church.
There's other ex-dancers there, there's people that have done porn, there's people that have been porn addicts. And she said, you won't even stand out.
Catherine finally went, and that Sunday, Friendship Community Church baptized an eclectic group.
With tattoos, with colored hair, every race, they're saying, I'm gonna bring Jesus back into my life. I'm gonna live my life for Jesus. And I said, why can't I?
She immediately turned away from stripping.
Quitting the club was my first step, and I took it that day.
And she said, Erin, I walked away. She accepted Christ as her Lord and Savior.
Erin introduced her to a job recruiter right away.
She had me instantly connected with probably 40 different opportunities.
A recruiter in our church has found her a job. She's going to graduate in January with a degree in criminal justice. She wants to be a cop.
Now Catherine joins Erin on those visits to the strip club.
Because now she's at a point she's able to go back and minister.
And the strippers started listening right away.
I think it was just that the glow of happiness and getting rid of depression and alcoholism and, inviting Jesus to control my life instead of me.
Aaron's faced some criticism for hanging out with and making friends of these strippers, but Todd points to Jesus.
He was criticized for hanging out with sinners, having meals with them, and things like that, and not requiring them to change right away.
Because you know what? They're not going to listen to us until they know how much we love them.
Jesus said that we'd be known as his followers by how we love.
The abortionist, the stripper, the pornographer, the addict, they're not our enemy. They're not the enemy of the church. They're our mission field.
So just as Jesus is known as the friend of sinners, Aaron Stevens, his homeschooling mom out here in the suburbs of Mount Juliet, is heading into the darkest parts of downtown Nashville and becoming known as the friend of strippers. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Mount Juliet, Tennessee.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music. It's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might. I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing. If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music. It's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might. I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
Here's the question, Ephraim. How would you celebrate 100 years of life?
Probably like this man from California. He celebrated his centennial birthday by doing something he's never done before. Skydive. It is something Varn Maynard says he's been dreaming of doing for years. Many people might be a bit weak in the knees at the thought of jumping out of a plane, but not Vern.
Oh, I'm not nervous. Why should I be nervous?
All right, can we have you sit down here, Vern?
Yeah, sure.
You're basically all set and ready to go.
I say, let's do it again. My golly, that's wonderful. I think maybe I have to go back and do this again.
Indeed. Even though it is his first time jumping out of a plane, Vern isn't afraid of trying new and exciting things. He's parasailed, he's jumped off the back deck of a cruise ship, and now he can add skydiving to that great list. I am with you, Vern.
We will
Good
be
job.
waiting for the video because Ephraim wants to do that.
I'm going to do that. I promise I will.
Okay, we will get it on video. We'll show it to you.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for CBN News Today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
And be sure to tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you'll join us again right here. Make it a wonderful Wednesday, everybody.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.